Dharma Circle, Swati here, the embodied Dharma coach. It's October. We're already here, and October requires some special reminders and some important steps. This is a very interesting month, and so I want to support you in some clarity for your body and also your dharmic path as we embark on a very delicate and vulnerable month. And so we can, prevent the danger that has not come. Hayam dukkha managatam, if we know how to do that. And of course, Jyotish and the Vedic calendar support us in understanding what is going on with the laws of nature. The laws of nature are functioning outside of the body, internally inside the body. Macrocosm is microcosm, microcosm is macrocosm. And so knowing some of the tendencies in nature this month will help us alleviate problems, suffering, stress, sickness, things like that. Because this is one of those months that is very delicate for many, many reasons. And there are several things that are particularly important to understand, which we'll talk about. It's also in the Vedic calendar. This is the 8th month in the Vedic calendar. It's called Kartika Masa. And this 8th month in the Vedic calendar is connected to very spiritual practices and supporting the spiritual. We've just been through immense spiritual transformation, going through Pitru Paksh, going into the eclipse cycle, then the 9 days and nights of Navratri, Mother Divine, and now we're in the 8th month of the Vedic calendar, which is dedicated to our spiritual practices. And we know that the number 8 is significant for transformation, for healing. And in the 8th house, we're working with the hidden realms, the unconscious, the subconscious terrain within, and also death and transformation, death back into life. This is where we do the deep dive, the deep work, and we come out on the other side of the 8th house transformed and ready for Dharma, right? 9th house comes next. So when we are navigating this 8th month of the Vedic calendar, we are working with these themes of deep transformation, death, dying, and what is nature doing in the northern hemisphere particularly. We are in a death process. The leaves are falling up here in the Rocky Mountains. The aspens are just about done. We still have some beautiful golden leaves hanging on, but we're coming to the end of trees and their growth, and they're reminding us this is a death cycle. And this is what nature does. This is very natural. This is normal. And in this process of death and dying that nature is reminding us is normal and natural, we also must tend to our grief. And so I consider this 8th month of the calendar year to be a time where we tend to our grief. This is our spiritual practice. If we are doing our spiritual work, then it requires that we are tending our grief and our grief work and honoring all that has not been fully digested. And of course, Ayurveda is also reminding us this, that when we move into these Sandhi times of year, whether it's spring or fall, the sap is flowing in the trees. The sap is flowing in our bodies, our physiologies. The nadis are more awake and enlivened. The ability to release toxins, ama, undigested food, emotions, experiences, the grief that has not been fully digested. This is our time to do this. And we can't do this work without slowing down and simplifying. And this is the brilliance of the 8th month in the Vedic calendar, is to do this very powerful cleansing and releasing, digesting, and healing. So I just really want to invite you to support your body physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Support your body in this digestion of grief, digestion of and release of undigested emotion, and the ama, the toxins, the undigested toxins that have accumulated over the last many, many months, multiple cycles. And this is our time to tend to that. So doing Ayurvedic cleansing, supporting your body in the digestion and release, getting more rest, the things that support grief work and digesting our grief. Of course, we need herbal support and dietary support. Those are essential. Also, movement. This is one of the best ways to digest grief, is physical body movement. And ritual is another big part. This is a good time to be doing grief ritual, specifically our ancestral rituals as well are included in that. And then I love the expressive arts as well for supporting the confronting and digesting of grief. And I share a lot of creative rituals with my clients to support them with this process. But your art making, whether it's music, a dance, drawing, painting, poetry, storytelling, singing, chanting, all of these things are part of the creative ritual process. So here we are in October, and Venus just went debilitated yesterday. And I'll tell you, how did I know Venus went debilitated? Well, I woke up yesterday to my little mountain village on fire, evacuation notices, and a flooded basement. And so that's how my debilitated Venus cycle started. And I've really been contemplating the power and the wisdom of debilitated Venus. And of course, this month, debilitated Sun also takes place. So we're going to have a double whammy with 2 debilitated planets. And both Venus and Sun impact our physical body very directly. And so this is not the kind of month to take risks or to overindulge. We have to be very careful, very mindful of the physical body at all times. There's low life force energy, and also our inner light is very dim. We're turning inward to source from our inner light, but the outer light, and Northern Hemisphere, we know this specifically, very intimately, the days are getting darker. The darkness is increasing. The days are getting shorter, right? So there's less sun at this time of year. There's less solar light at this time of year. And we know that when the sun goes debilitated, we have very little access to the light. Our inner light is very important at this time. And so sourcing from our inner light. So October begins with Jupiter in Gemini, although Jupiter is going to dip into exaltation in Cancer for a brief month and a half. And that's exciting. I'll say more about that in a moment. Venus and Ketu are conjunct in Leo at the beginning of the month. This intense conjunction ends when Venus jumps into debilitation in Virgo. It started yesterday. So we have this theme around relationships, delicate love, vulnerability with relationships, endings to relationships, a lot of challenges with life force energy, Shakti. Venus is our Shakti, our Jala, life force energy, the inner waters. And so when Venus goes debilitated, our ability to access our inner water is very minimal. There might be wasted water, not enough water, a sense of very little life force energy available to us. So this is very important that we're tending our life force energy this month, because we don't have very much available at this time of year. And Sun and exalted Mercury are still in Virgo until the Sun goes debilitated on the 16th in Libra. We also have Mars in Libra right now, and Rahu, of course, is in Aquarius, and retrograde Saturn is in Pisces. So Mercury in Libra on the 2nd, and we'll have this Mercury and Mars conjunction in Libra this month. Venus goes debilitated on the 8th in Virgo. Sun debilitates in Libra on the 16th. Jupiter exalts in Cancer on the 17th. And we're all just wondering, what's this going to feel like? What's this going to be like? We haven't felt this in 12 years. And so you may even recall, what was going on for you 12 years ago? Jupiter transits are 12 years long, so we're going to have this very unusual moment of Jupiter going into exaltation for a month and a half and then retrograding back into Gemini. So we're not done with the Jupiter and Gemini themes. Don't get too comfortable, but we'll have a moment of pause and some expansion coming with Jupiter. And this is something to pay attention to. We will get a year-long transit of exalted Jupiter coming later next year. But for now, you get a taste. So notice where Cancer is in your chart. Jupiter is naturally expansive, for better or worse. Exaltation doesn't mean good, and it doesn't mean that all things benevolent will be expanding. It depends on your relationship with Jupiter, and also where he is natally in your chart. And is he a helpful planet to you? Is his expansion helpful? Where does he go in Cancer for you? What house, what body part, what themes are expanding? So pay attention, because this expansion for a year and a half, and the knowledge and the wisdom. Remember, that's what Jupiter does. He's the guru, and he's bringing knowledge and wisdom to us. And our relationship with knowledge and wisdom is determined by the guru, by Jupiter. So what is that relationship? People who have a more Rajasic Jupiter in their natal chart will attract Rajasic knowledge, experiences, guru, and education, So it's not always sattvic. The nature of Jupiter is sattvic. That's his primary nature. But that doesn't always mean that he delivers sattva. I think it's important to understand that he's ultimately trying to move us back to our sattva. But all qualities in nature are important. Rajas, tamas, and sattva. They are all important. So one is not better than the other. We tend to favor sattva. I know I do. Certainly with teachers and knowledge and wisdom. But we learn and grow from all knowledge and wisdom, even if it's Rajasic or Tamasic. So just noticing what your natal relationship is with Jupiter. And as Jupiter goes into exaltation on the 17th for a month and a half, we'll get a taste of what this expansive cycle can really offer us, and you'll start to see what next year is going to bring you. Then we also have Diwali starting on the 18th with Dhanvantri. This is the father of Ayurveda. And of course, our greatest wealth is health, right? And that's why Diwali starts with Dhanvantri. This celebration of light begins on the 18th and will conclude on the 23rd. And again, interesting timing. In the Vedic calendar, this sacred celebration of light is about stoking the inner light, bringing us back to the strength of our inner light at this dark time of year. And so remember to turn inward, slow down, and cultivate your inner light through your practices, through getting plenty of rest, and of course through Ayurvedic cleansing and all of the things that support the digestion and the increasing of light physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That's what this sacred time of year is really designed to do if we honor what the laws of nature are really asking of us. This is not the time to be, externally motivated, super busy, traveling, wasting your life force energy, partying. There's a tendency with a debilitated Venus and certainly with Sun that addictions come back. So be mindful. If you have addiction problems, this is one of the times of year where you need to be mindful that addictions can come back. And that's sugar addictions, caffeine, drugs, alcohol, intoxicants. Venus is Asura energy. He is demon energy, in fact. He is our more human qualities. And so the human parts of ourselves, when Venus is debilitated, they can get imbalanced, and you might start craving things like sugar and carbs and comfort foods and things that are trying to pacify this very low life force energy. And you might want stimulants, right? But in fact, we're being asked to slow down, turn inward, rest. And a debilitated sun is very much a rest cycle. This is not big energy. This is not external energy. Remember, debilitated planets turn in on themselves. They can't express themselves at all. So we have this quality of the planets and nature really requesting this inward focus, pausing, resting, and of course, tending to our spiritual practices. Mercury goes into Scorpio on the 23rd and will leave that Libra conjunction taking place. And then Mars will follow and move into Scorpio on the 26th. So we have a little bit of a stellium taking place in Libra this month, and then that will start to shift and move into Scorpio as the month concludes. So your reminder for this month is to take a lot of time for your body and your self-care, your spiritual practices, and to not fritter away your life force energy. You don't have much this month anyway. If you want to prevent sickness or health challenges or accidents or injuries, then of course we want to go slow, be mindful, and not be wasting life force energy. The full moon is in Pisces and Revati Nakshatra on October 6th. We just passed this. This is a closure and a release process. And, this cycle is really the conclusion of the entire eclipse cycle that we have just been through. So pay attention to what is closing, releasing, ending. A lot of relationships are ending right now, and there's a couple reasons for that. The Ketu in Purva Palguni Nakshatra is naturally closing relationships, cutting and clearing relationships. And of course, the debilitated Venus now is going to intensify the lack of love and the feeling of very little love available. So just being mindful of what you're closing and releasing, letting go. And then the new moon is in Libra in Chitra Nakshatra on October 21st. And this new moon is certainly about creating and creativity. Chitra is very creative. Chitra, in fact, is connected to the zodiac and Jyotish. Vishvakarma is the ruling deity, and he actually built the zodiac. So there's a very cosmic, celestial quality that comes with Chitra. It's ruled by Mars and Vishvakarma. His name, karma, action, has to do with taking action, quite literally, building and creating. So there's this quality of building and creating. And with this new moon, notice, what are you creating in your life? What are you building? What seeds are you planting for the new? Vishvakarma and, of course, Chitra will support you in this. And the new moon in Libra brings this quality of balance and integration after many, many weeks and months of challenges and endings and loss. So just noticing, what is this desire to create and build that shows up at the end of the month? And I'll close with a Jane Goodall quote. She's my hero, and her passing has really impacted me. I know many of us have been impacted by her passing. She passed during Navratri, and any soul that passes on or during Navratri or around Navratri, we know is a very auspicious passing. And so honoring Jane for her abundant wisdom, kindness, and the way that she educated humanity about animals and taking care of animals. Jane says, what you do makes a difference. And you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. And of course, this is our dharmic work. Decide what kind of difference you want to make. And this month, we're focusing on our body wisdom, our spiritual practices, digesting grief, and tending the body because life force is very low. This is one of those months where your Dharma requires that you do this work for yourself, for your lineage, for your body, so that you can be of service and be effective in your dharmic work. And if we don't take care of our body and our spiritual work, then we're not very effective, and we don't have a very an offering that's in integrity. So I want to encourage you to take care of your body, tend to the very low life force energy that's available. It's very low tide this month, and many blessings to you and your ancestors. If you want this full transit report that I put out every month, comment transits below. I'll send you the link to my transits, and you can also join my Dharma circle where I post all of my resources as well. All right, everyone, be well, take good care of your bodies this month, and be gentle with yourselves. Talk to you soon. Bye.